Welcome. I'm Suzette McHugh, Industry Partnership Coordinator at North Monco Technical Career Center. And today we're going to take a look inside North Monco to learn more about the programs offered. Joining me now are Dave Wozniak, the instructor of the Recreational Power Equipment Program, and one of his students, Jay Wills. So thank you both for being here today. Dave, Recreational Power Equipment sounds very broad. Can you tell me what is taught in that program?
It is very broad. It's we work with everything that has a small engine on it. So from a weed whacker up to Harley Davidsons and everything in between. A lot of dirt bikes, a lot of tractors, a lot of ATVs. Do the motor work, trans work, steering, suspension, and brakes.
So do you have all this equipment in the classroom for the students to actually work on?
Yes. We have an assortment of bikes and tractors and lawn equipment for the kids to work on all the time.
So it's interesting that you said the lawn equipment, because our next guests are from floral design and landscaping. So without your students learning to do this, they wouldn't be able to do their job without you maintaining the equipment. So that's pretty interesting.
They have us fix their stuff from time to time.
That's great. It really helps them.
Yeah.
And then, so Jay, how long have you been in this program?
This is my third year in the program. Yeah, it's my third year being here. I came from ninth grade, the first year I started coming, and I just decided to stay in the program. I liked it a lot. I learned a lot throughout the time I've been there and things like that. So I just decided to stay in the program.
So when you came to the school in ninth grade, you probably took a tour in eighth grade at that time. And what made you pick this program?
I've always had like a knack for things and just seeing how things work. I've always been an advocate riding dirt bikes and things like that. So if anything of mine broke down, I just wanted to be able to fix it myself. And I do a lot of in the winter I shovel and I use snow blowers and things like that. So if they break down, I'll be able to diagnose the problem and fix it myself. So yeah, I just want to learn a little bit more about what I'm working with here.
That helps so much.
Yeah.
And I guess your family likes that you're able to repair things then.
Yeah.
Are you taking things apart that maybe aren't broken?
Yeah, I'm a very curious kid, so I'm always just taking something apart just to pass the time sometimes. Just taking things apart, not putting them back together. Stepmom gives me an earful for it, but gotta do what I gotta do.
That's how you learn, right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you said you're a curious kid. Dave, what kind of skills would a student need to be successful in this field?
Really, it's more to the soft skills. You gotta have a willingness to want to hustle and go and get it. Be able to communicate with the people around you and bosses. Of course, you need the hand skills and be able to change out parts and stuff like that. But really, anybody could do that. You have to be able to think and really be self-motivated to really go out and get it. So
someone coming into the program wouldn't necessarily have to know these skills. If they're watching today, they might say, wow, I don't know how to take apart my mower.
Yeah, I've had kids come in, were born with a wrench in their hand, and then I have kids that come in that don't know a wrench from their elbow. And we do it soup to nuts, from top to bottom. So by the time they leave, they should be job ready.
Well, that's great to hear. Now, Jay, what is your favorite part about the classroom? Is it book work, or obviously some is hands-on?
Well, I've never been a fan of writing, so the book work is not my favorite, but I do like to work in the shop, it's hands-on, I like to work hands-on with a lot of the stuff I get to work with, like he said, we got a lot of different things in our shop, from lawnmowers to, bikes and everything. So I just like being able to work on a variety of different things. It's just not a specific motor or a specific trans, to a specific, like any type of dirt bike or anything. I like to be able to work on a whole bunch of things at once, or, different projects, so,
So what's a typical day like when you come into the class?
We come in, we get ready, get dressed, get prepared. That just putting our boots, work pants, shirt on. We come into class, we do book work for about half an hour, 15 minutes, half an hour. Then we go out into the shop, and from there on, it's kind of hands-on. Or hands-off is for the teacher, but hands-on for us. We just got to make sure we pay attention to what we're doing, because we are working with a lot of different, type of materials and things. So, that's really it. We work. It's just like a typical work day, like going into a job, anything like that.
Well, now, first you mentioned about getting changed. Dave, are the students required to purchase anything for items for this program?
Yeah, they're to have a uniform, basically what I'm wearing, a work shirt and working pant, boots, and safety glasses.
And does that replicate what industry would have them?
Yeah, any job you'd get in industry, they would supply it for you, but yeah, they all go through that. You know, I mean, we work with oil and stuff like that that will stain your stuff pretty quickly. Moms get angry at that type of stuff, so.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Jay mentioned working on all different types of equipment when you get to the hands-on portion of the class. If a student doesn't have any skills, do you have them set up at different levels? Someone that may come in really trained?
They all start at the same, but they go through a progression of different edges, going from real easy to harder as they go along. And really, I pretty much base it on the student. How fast they progress is really up to them, and I just move them through the program that way.
So someone's not waiting for someone else to progress. They might be on a higher task than somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you want to go out and get as much as you can. If you're just looking for something specific and really want to get to know that as best you can, it's built that way too. It's a very flexible class environment that way.
Well, that's great, because I can imagine it's intimidating for someone like me that doesn't have any skills, wouldn't even know the wrench, versus someone like Jay coming in who's been working on it forever, you know.
Right.
So that's great to see that you can accommodate all levels of students. What about certifications? I know, like, one of the things technical schools speak about is certification students can earn that really make them more employable. Does your program offer any?
So there's two. The program itself is certified by the NMTCC, which is, and there's a 4-stroke certification for that. It's kind of like your doctorate for engines. And then I also offer a state safety inspection license for motorcycles. So that really helps with getting your foot in the door with motorcycle shops and stuff like that. If you have that, it gives you one leg up on the competition.
So when the students are going out for their jobs, this carries.
Not only that, but it also kind of gives the employer, like, to pass that, it's a state certified test. It's not like a North Monco test. So they can kind of see, like, yeah, he at least has somewhat of an idea of what's going on.
Oh, that's great, yeah. So the program has to be certified in order to offer these certifications?
Yes.
Very good. Now, Jay, how about you? Are you working towards any certifications, or did you earn them yet?
I'm still working towards them, because I was one of those students that came in. I knew a little bit, but I still had to progress a little bit. So I'm working on them. After tech school, I did plan on going to UTI, which is it's a higher level trade school, you know, just for like adults and things like that. So there are certifications that I would like to get, you know, including the ones that he mentioned. I would like to get more on top of that, just so, you know, when I get into the field, the spectrum of things, I can be, you know, right where I need to be.
Well, that's great, though, and you want to further your education in this. Do you know down the road what your ultimate dream is?
Not yet. I'm still kind of young, so I'm still trying to, you know, pick and choose, you know, what I want to do. But I got a good couple of things that I would like to do after, you know, high school and things like that.
So do you feel like attending this program is helping you pursue your career goals then?
It's definitely helped me. It's gave me a little bit of insight on some things that I didn't know, a lot about. And even things, you know, I'm learning as I'm going. So it's always, you know, helping me out with things like that, yes.
When you were a freshman, did you ever think you'd be at this point where you see yourself going on to further schooling and actually seeing career goals in sight?
I was partially there, but like I said, this is kind of more enforcing it, you know, it's kind of putting the idea more into my head now, you know, that like I could do something with this. That's
great. That's really good. What have some of your students gone on to do?
Most of my former students are out working in the field. A couple of them started their own businesses, and believe it or not, landscape, but, you know, part of that is the equipment. So they got their own equipment, they know how to service it. It's a big fee if you don't know how to do it. So they went that route, start their own landscaping companies, a few small engine companies. A few go on to secondary schools. A couple guys have gone on to just ride dirt bikes, and we have one now that's about to graduate. That's what he's trying to do as a profession. So he wanted the insight on the bike so he could talk to his tech and his team to say it's doing this.
So he wants to be a professional driver.
Yeah, so he's trying to go that route.
So there's a lot of avenues then.
It's very, very, very diverse. I mean, we even do boats too, so we'll be working on a dock somewhere.
See, that's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
Now, Jay, based on everything I'm hearing, I think this program's great. Would you recommend it to anyone?
I would definitely recommend it, but to be honest, it's not for everybody. If there's certain things that we do that require, a little bit more, critiquing or, attention than, some other things. But I would definitely, if you are into the field of, working with your hands and things like that, and you don't mind getting a little dirty here and there, I would definitely recommend, to somebody who would be interested.
Very good. Well, thank you both for joining us today. This is
Not a
wonderful
problem.
information about the Recreational
Yeah, no
Power
problem.
Equipment Program. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to speak to students from the Floral Design and Landscaping Program.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Today we are taking a look inside North Monco Technical Career Center, and right now we are going to learn about the Floral Design and Landscaping Program. Joining me now are the instructor, Mrs. Patty Miller, and two of her students, Alicia Long and Jake Godshall. So thank you all for being here. Patty, I'm going to ask you, I know you're very enthusiastic about your program,
Yep.
and it's Floral Design and Landscaping.
Yes.
Can you tell us what's taught in your program?
Yes. So we call it Floral Design and Landscaping. The program in the past, some years back, was called Environmental Horticulture Technology. And we found that many students didn't really know what that meant. So we changed it to Floral Design and Landscaping as the local name, because we thought that would be a little more self-explanatory. However, that being said, we do so much more than that. We do have a floral design component in the program, and we do have a student-operated flower shop. And we do landscaping. We do a lot of landscape maintenance. Our classroom really extends beyond the four walls of the classroom, and really the campus is our classroom, so to speak. But in addition to that, we have a greenhouse. We have a small production greenhouse. We grow a vegetable garden every year. We have several herb gardens that we grow. And then we integrate with culinary, and the culinary students use our herbs. We just this morning were working on what's called a keyhole garden, and so we've used repurposed brick, and we were just putting some finishing touches on that. And that is a type of garden that it originated in Africa, and it combines the use of compost, and it's a sustainable agricultural endeavor. So. We get a lot of farm-to-school grants lately because there's a big push for schools to be teaching gardening and for students to be eating healthier and to become more aware of how food is grown and what to do with it after it's grown. So we're really focusing on that part of horticulture, which is known as olericulture. So we do have a large variety of topics and activities in the class.
So I feel like what you said, floral design and landscaping, doesn't really do the program justice
It
because you do so much more.
And I wish I could come up with something different to call it. So
Maybe we'll have to have a contest
Yeah.
and see. You know?
I typically just refer to it as a general horticulture program, but then that's assuming that someone knows what horticulture means.
Right, it's
Kind of been a dilemma.
There's a lot going on in your program,
Yeah.
and that's
Yes,
great.
a lot
And
of
you
good things.
mentioned, yes, you mentioned working with the culinary arts students too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. And earlier we were talking to the recreational power equipment, and they said how they work with you. So it's kind of neat to see the programs interact with each other at the school.
It is, yes.
Well, now I want to get to Alicia. Tell me what made you pick this program, because it's, you know, different names, different topics.
Yeah. In 8th grade, I knew I wanted to go to tech. I just wasn't sure what. And at first I thought I wanted to go to culinary, but then they had us fill out a paper and we had to pick out a second one that we might have wanted to choose. So I chose this lab. And then when we took our tour in 8th grade, I decided that I liked this lab better than culinary because I just thought it was more suited for me.
Well, that's great, but now you're still working with culinary. You're making the food for them. Well, you're making the herbs for them. Or
Yes.
growing the herbs, I
Yeah.
should say. And how about you, Jake? What made you pick this program?
Well, I heard about tech in 8th grade, and I thought a hands-on learning would be a lot more suited for me, but I didn't know what I wanted to learn, so I waited to come. And during that time, I had done some landscaping work for a family, just as like, you know, a little summer job. And I found out that we had like a landscape horticulture class in tech, so I decided I'd try it out. And as soon as I got into the class, I found out I loved it.
So you're focusing on the landscaping aspect. How about you, Alicia? What do you have a preference?
No, I kind of do both. I kind of do everything. Yeah.
Nothing is standing out that you prefer yet.
No,
Okay.
I like
good.
everything.
Well, that's good. That's good because there's so much to learn in your class.
There really is.
Jake, now I became aware that you also are part of the PIAP program, which is the full-time program at North Monco.
Yep.
So it means you take your academics some of the days at North Monco, and then you also go out to work. What is that experience like?
I find it really great, actually. It helps me apply what I learn in class and what I learn in my academics, because at North Monco, our academics are based more towards our lab to focus it on real-world problems. So I get to take what I learn at school and I get to apply it in the real world on the job site and get experience there.
So do you know what you want to do when you graduate then, since you're already out working?
When I graduate, I would like to go to a secondary school, and I would like to continue with landscaping because I think it's something that I'm good at and something that I enjoy. But overall, I'd like to, like after college, I'd like to become maybe a horticultural specialist and maybe own my own greenhouse or nursery.
That's great. Do you know what school you're going to go to yet, or you're still looking?
That's where I'm stuck. I'm not sure yet,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of opportunities around
there
too.
is.
So
especially in this region.
exactly,
Yeah, Pennsylvania's huge.
it's great. Alicia, what's a typical day like in your class? Now, I hear how much there is to learn.
Yes.
But what's it like?
Well, there's no real typical day in our class because every day it's different because it's a lot of seasonal work. Like in December, we do wreaths and a lot of holiday things. And in February, we do Valentine's Day. And like at the end of December, beginning of January, we're getting ready for Farm Show, which is a competition that we all do. And it's just very seasonal. So it's not really a typical day, but it's mostly, there's like hands-on and book work, but there's mostly hands-on work, and hands-on work is the reason a lot of people go to tech.
Right, and I guess obviously you need the book work to understand what you're going to be working with or how everything grows. So that's really good. You mentioned Farm Show,
Yes.
and now I know, Mrs. Miller, your class participates in the Farm Show every January,
Yes.
and you have many winners. Alicia, I know you've won in the past, definitely.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about Farm Show? Some people here that are watching don't really understand what is involved with all of your entries. Can you explain a little?
Well, Farm Show is a statewide competition, and the part that we compete in is Department 28, and it's for like students. And basically, what we get is like a list full of different things that we can do, and we all compete in it. But the list is very strict and detailed on what it is. Like I'm doing a flower gold headpiece, but it has to be for a wedding, and then it can only be like so long, and there's got to be silk flowers. It's very detailed.
So a lot of specific criteria that you have to meet.
Yes.
Now, do you get to pick what entries you do, or does Mrs. Miller assign them?
We get to pick them because if she assigned them, then I don't think it would be like a good thing because we might want to do something else that Mrs. Miller doesn't know about.
Sometimes I add on to their.
Yes.
I've been known to sneak things in.
Yeah.
But they're not obligated to do them.
But I think she also knows your strengths and will play
Yes,
up to
she
that
does.
as well.
Yes.
Jake, are you preparing for the farm show?
I am. This year, I do not have as many entries as I typically would because I am on the co-op program, so I'm out to work, so I don't have as much time to work on them, but I am doing a few entries myself and hopefully placing.
What categories do you think you want to participate in?
I've done this category for the last 3 years. I make a boxwood tree and decorate it as a Christmas theme. I really enjoy it.
So there's all different themes. I think in the
yeah.
past
yes.
there's like hospital arrangements, Mrs. Miller. I don't.
Well, Department 28 is basically plants and floral. And so if we lived closer to Harrisburg, we would probably do the landscape exhibit as well, but the distance is just prohibitive for that. So there's a very long list. It's called a premium list. And again, the students are allowed to enter as many categories as they think they can handle. They're all either plant-oriented or floral design oriented in that particular department. But just to give a little plug for Farm Show, it is the 100th Farm Show this year. And if you haven't ever been to Farm Show, it's free. It's the largest agricultural event in the United States under roof. It's every January, and yeah, we compete every year. So it's very educational because, as Alicia was saying, all the entries are very specific, and so if the students don't follow the criteria to the letter, then the entry is disqualified. So it's not just a fun thing to do, but it's also educational. There's measuring involved, and they have to read very carefully. In some of the floral things, for instance, you have to know your color wheel because they'll have a specific color theme, like, split contemporary or analogous or things like that. So there's certain things like that. In the plant entries, there'll be very specific types of plants that have to be in an entry. And the judges are strict about it. They walk around with a ruler and tape measure and measure things, and yeah.
So you're really integrating some of the math in there with your technical program.
Yeah.
Do you two find it difficult to do this, or is it fun? Are you all helping each other make sure you meet the qualifications and all that?
We all help each other.
We do.
And it's
Yeah.
a great time when we're because we all work on our entries together, and we'll all give each other pointers on, oh, you should add this, or maybe take that out, and we really help each other do better.
So an exciting class environment then. That's
Yeah.
great.
And really helpful.
Absolutely.
That's great. Now, Patty, what are some of your graduates doing?
Oh, some of my graduates. I have quite a few graduates that are working in different flower shops. Many of them have gone on to Montco Community College. One graduate comes to mind from last year. She is working. Am I allowed to say the name of a business or not?
Sure.
She's at the William Penn Inn. Actually, two of my graduates are there, and they're working in the floral department. But the one graduate hopes to start her own event planning business, and so she's taking business courses at the community college while she's working. I have some students in garden centers. I have some, Travis is Jake is landscaping right now. Travis is my nickname for him, sorry. Jake is landscaping right now, and I have a couple of guys that have gone on to do landscaping. It seems more of the graduates are either going to post-secondary education, or if they are in the field, they're in the kind of nursery, greenhouse, floral end of it. a little bit more than the landscaping.
So there's a lot of different avenues graduates from your program can go to, so that's exciting.
There are, and there's also very, let's say, non-traditional career paths that we do career exploration in the class. In the beginning, and then sometimes throughout, I try to work it in as well. There are occupations like horticultural therapy, which you can go to Temple University Ambler campus and get a 2-year certification in that. With people living longer, a lot of our assisted living facilities are employing horticultural therapists. So when you hear the name of a program, Floral Design and Landscaping, there's so many more career paths in the area of horticulture that people don't even think about. I have one student who graduated 2 years ago who really liked insects, and she was always out in the greenhouse. And there is actually an occupation in the horticultural field called being a scout. And a scout is someone who studies entomology, the study of bugs, and they go around to commercial greenhouses and they scout the greenhouses for pest problems, and they identify the pests, and then they're also knowledgeable and educated on what different cultural practices or pesticides can be used in order to resolve the problem. So that's something no one even really thinks about when you hear the term horticulture, and yet it's kind of a non-traditional career path, but it's very necessary in the field. You know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And you don't even think of some of these careers when you hear floral design and
Right.
landscaping.
Right.
So I'm glad you were here to
Yeah.
share all these opportunities that are available to the students, because it's great for you to have this avenue that in 9th grade you didn't even think you were going to choose or even know about. And now, you know, the opportunities are great for you. So I want to thank you all for being here today. A lot of information shared.
Good, great.
If you would like any more information about the programs offered at North Monco Technical Career Center, just give us a call at 215-368-1177 or visit our website, nmtcc.org. And better yet, come to our open house on February 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. We'd love to see you there, and these students will definitely have some wonderful opportunities and exciting premiums to show you. For North Monco Technical Career Center, I'm Suzette McHugh. Thank you for watching.